Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are you? How is everyone doing this fine Thursday day? What's new? What's exciting? What have you guys been up to? Let me know down below if there's anything new and exciting in you guys' lives that you want to share with a little community. Just, type it down below. So nothing really new and exciting with me. A week from today, I will be in Nova Scotia, which I'm super excited for. I am originally from Nova Scotia, if you haven't been watching my channels. And I just haven't been back probably in 5 or 7 years just due to the pandemic, timing with my life, stuff like that. So I haven't been back to see my family, but we're finally going back. And we're super excited to finally go back, see everyone, and just, explore. It'd be the first time my husband has ever been to the Maritimes, so he's really looking forward to this. And it's just going to be really nice to get away from my job, get away from my, regular life, and just kind of explore and relax and figure things out. So I'm super excited. Is anyone going on holidays, going on trips? What is your plans? Well, the summer is coming up. It snowed 2 days ago, and it snowed a lot, and I woke up pissed, but it's no longer snowing. It's actually nice out. I can go outside in a sweater, so that's good. So, for anyone who is new to my channel, my name is Jordan MacLean, and I'm here every Thursday to bring you a true crime story that has happened here in Canada. I strictly stay in Canada because I am from Canada. So that's usually why I stick with Canada, and just to show that not every country is perfect. I know a lot of people see Canada and like to think of us as peacemakers or such a free place to live, which it is. It is a great place to live, but there is also problems that Canada has that a lot of people don't know about. So I tell different true crime stories, and it ranges from everything from ridiculous laws that we had in Canada to serial killers to missing people to, cults. Like, there's tons of things. So it just, whatever you feel like doing, whatever you feel like listening to, there will be a story for you. If you do hear some noises running around, my dog is in a cone. He's allergic to protein. I don't know if I told anyone that. And I walk him a lot off leash. And when I walk him off leash, he runs and finds like a moldy sandwich or something and eats it. And then next thing you know, he has hot spots all over his body. And he licks and licks and licks till they bleed. So he has a huge hot spot, and we had to put a cone on him when I go to work and stuff, just to like really make sure that he's okay and he doesn't lick at them, so it gets better. But like literally the minute you take that cone off him, he's licking that thing to death. It is crazy. So let's get into the story that I'm going to tell you guys today. So today's story is about Chelsea Poorman. This you might have read a little bit about her in the recent news articles because they have just found her remains. But I'm going to tell you about the disappearance of Chelsea Poorman. There he is laying down, Chelsea Poorman, and exactly what the RCMP did and where she was when she went missing and what they found. So stick to it. So let's get right into the cold case. It's not a cold case. I guess they just let's get right into the missing persons of Chelsea Poorman. So also, since I'm going to be leaving here pretty quickly, I'm going to really just do a nice natural kind of, because I got other stuff I need to do today. So I'm not going to go crazy on my face today and try to do something that's crazy and then it turns out like crap like I've been doing lately. I want to just do a regular look on my face. So, something just casual. Again, I'll be trying to show my products I'll be using. I went in with the moisturizer. And now I'm going in with my favorite primer for the rest of my face. And then I'll use the e.l.f. Putty Primer from my T-zone, kind of where the most pores are on my face. So Chelsea Poorman was a 24-year-old Indigenous woman, has been missing from Vancouver, Canada since September 6, 2020. Chelsea and her family are from, I don't know how to pronounce this, Kawacatoose First Nations in Saskatchewan. While there has been some media attention paid to her disappearance, one can't help but think if she were a white individual and had a different, economic status, there would be a frenzy. And how does a woman just up and vanish in downtown Vancouver, which has thousands and thousands of people down there. This has been a common theme in Canada with, I didn't even put my Polish pony on. Maybe I can still do it. In Canada, where Indigenous individuals, men and women, or murdered and missing Indigenous women, you might have heard, go missing. And the RCMP, the Edmonton police, the Vancouver police don't do anything. And this story is one of them. This story is just like so many other sad stories that I've read in the past of a young Indigenous woman who was just out doing something and disappeared and nothing was done. Chelsea is described by her family as kind, funny, polite, a sweet person who loves animals, music, and fashion. She is 5'3" tall with black hair and was previously in a car accident that left her both physically and mentally injured. So she did have a slight disability. She walked with a cane, also had a knee brace. These were the things that the family knew about Chelsea, and they also knew that there is people out there who will see this and say, hey, I could probably use this girl and take advantage of her just because she does have a slight disability. Her mom was interviewed by T, and she described her the exact same way: a trusting woman who loved animals and music, wrote her own songs. Before she went missing, she had been living in Burnaby with her boyfriend. Her sister worries that someone had taken advantage of her just because she was such a caring and trustworthy person that, you know, she's always there willing to help anyone who needs it, that this would just be such a perfect opportunity for an individual to see her and then take advantage of her. So now the Maybelline stick, my usual concealer that I use for just under my eyes and a little bit on my forehead and here. So Chelsea was last seen by her sister in the area of Granville Street, which is the main drag of the Vancouver downtown core. The two had dinner at a restaurant, then went to a friend's apartment nearby. But around midnight, Chelsea left on her own without telling anyone where she was headed. Her sister later spoke to her on the phone or they texted each other. There was kind of a conflict with reportings there, so I couldn't really get if it was a text or a phone call, and stated that Chelsea said to leave her alone as she was with her new bae. After that, all communication ceased from Chelsea and also became inactive on social media. So Chelsea had a new love interest, and it's suspected, you know, from the family that maybe she was going to go see them, or who knows really what the idea there was, because even the sister didn't really know. And, you know, like, the sister even went out for dinner with her that same day, and she didn't even really talk about New Bay or anything like that. So it must have been a fairly new relationship that Chelsea had. And, you know, it sounded like she might have also had another boyfriend that the family knew of. So maybe she didn't want to, like, you know, tell the parents or tell the sister and then kind of have it, like, slip up. Who knows? But that was the last time Chelsea had ever spoken to her family. So now I'm going to set my face. So lack of communication and contact with Chelsea and her friends was highly unusual for Chelsea. Her not communicating with her family was, you know, very unusual. It was a very tight-knit family. They always talked, they hung out, no bad blood. Family's family. Sometimes you fight. Like, me and my sister don't get along all the time, but, you know, they're still family. So you kind of want to, you still keep them around a little bit. Now I'm going in with the Essence bronzer for fair skin, like myself. I was going to do the Rare Beauty, but I find I put too much on. I love the Rare Beauty blush, but I just find sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. So like I said, it was very unusual for the lack of contact with Chelsea, because she was, you know, like I said, loved her family, close-knit. However, this wasn't the first time that she has gone missing. July of 2020, her family didn't hear from her for 5 days after moving in with her boyfriend. However, this was later explained by the fact that Chelsea had lost her phone. When Chelsea went missing again in September, both her mother and her sister felt that this was more of a serious situation. They reported her missing to the police 2 days later on September 8th, 2020. And I find one of the biggest problems with the RCMP or the police or the Edmonton or Vancouver, whatever police force it is the minute somebody has a missing person's record before, they just chop it off to that. They probably just left. They don't, like, if somebody goes missing, it's like pretty critical, my nose is itchy, pretty critical that you start looking for them, because it was like the Force 48 is one of the biggest. You can actually get evidence and you can kind of track them down, and you have the most chances of getting them alive. So for them, just for the minute they see that, one, she's Aboriginal, and two, she's already been missing before, they're going to sweep that under the rug. And I don't think that's right. I think no matter who it is, if it's a family member, no matter what, and they report them missing, it's suspicious. Like, I work with people who, you know, ghost me, all kinds of stuff. But the minute I realize that their patterns are off, I get worried and I say, this isn't the same. This isn't exactly how they've been acting before, because I'm around them enough. Family is around them enough to understand that this isn't how they act, and this is different. And a lot of RCMP or a lot of police, or they just go, oh, don't worry about it, she'll come back around. Maybe she just ran away. Like, I want to see the stats behind that. I want to see the stats behind it. When they say that they just ran away, did they actually run away, or are you just lying? So again, Chelsea was reported missing on September 8th, 2020, 2 days later. Unfortunately, the police did not put out a press release about her missing. Now I'm going in with the S's Mosaic Blush. Did not put a press release about Chelsea's disappearance until 10 days later on September 18th, 2020. So potentially losing all critical information surrounding all important first few days. Any witnesses who might have seen her that night, any vehicles that they might have seen, any evidence on the ground, anything like that. It's been 10 days, swept away. In a downtown Vancouver, like, that's a busy place. Like, that's not just Hinton, Alberta, or maybe 3 people walk through Green Square at a time. This is downtown Vancouver where it's busy consistently, and they waited 10 days. Like, probably because they have so many missing people, because they, you know, sweep them under the rug. But 10 days and then you lose everything. Now they're going to say that this person's missing? Like, that's horrible. That poor family. All too often, families' input is ignored. Chelsea's mom claims that they were even told by the officers that the police had more important things to do. This is this dispute that, at least in hindsight, the VP as Vancouver Police Department, has recognized that Chelsea is vulnerable and her disappearance is high-risk nature. She's Aboriginal, which is one of the highest, like, a lot of people take advantage of Aboriginal females. So that should have been a high risk. And she does have a slight mental and physical disability because she walks with a cane and she was in an accident. I don't know how much. And she's a woman who's 24. She's small built and she's walking at the middle of night. Like, to me, that just screams, go find this girl. Something happened to her. But apparently, that's it. Nobody else. Now I'm going to spray my little face with Maloney. Get that wet. See what I mean? Just a nice calm face today. Nice and calm. So like I said, given the fact that as a society now recognizes that Indigenous women are far more likely to be targeted in serious crimes, be it an assault, rape, or murder, it is highly questionable that the police didn't take to her case way more seriously than they actually did. This is just ridiculous how long they decided. Audrey Segal, a woman and activist who said the grief Poorman's family's experience and the pain that comes from the questioning going unanswered is all too familiar to Indigenous communities. which I agree about. It is. You hear it all the time. Like, it's a broken record at this point where they're just like, oh, it's a woman, Indigenous woman. It's okay. Like, we're just going to not do anything about it. Oh, she just ran away. Oh, you know, like, they're so vulnerable. This should be a red flag that we need to go looking for them right off the jump. Said really, really simple eye look. Now I need a mirror. I just had one. Now I'm gonna go in with my Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, and I'm just gonna give my eyes a little bit of some color, some browns, you know how it is. So she also said the system needs to be in place to better support young Indigenous women. I'm going to be 49 in June. This has been happening my whole life, she said. A half a century isn't enough time to stop it. How many more lifetimes are we going to go forward with this? How many more Chelseas are there going to be? Which I 100% back that statement. The amount of murdered and missing Indigenous women that go through Canada is at a ridiculous number. For them to still say, we'll wait a bit. Actually, we're going to wait a bit on that one. I think that's ridiculous. This case has been transferred to the VP Homicide, the VPD, so the Vancouver Police Department Homicide Department, through police, though police have stated it's not being treated as a homicide. The intent is just to have access to greater resources. Chelsea's family has raised $10,000 in reward money and has also hired a private detective, and no viable tips have come thus far. So they still, at this point, had nothing. The cops had nothing, probably because they didn't do anything or even tried to even look for Chelsea or anything like that. They just had nothing. So because Chelsea, I'm now going to go in a little bit with my Diet Root Beer that's on my Jeffree Star palette and kind of just darken up the outside because I want to. So because Chelsea's disappearance happened in downtown Core, you would think because there might be viable CCTV footage from the surrounding businesses. Also, if her disappearance was related to a new love interest, you would think that this person might be traceable through her social media. The VPD have stated that they have done an extensive video canvassing and are looking in collaborating with the Saskatoon police force, which is like nice and all, but that's a couple provinces over, right? So like, it's nice to be collabing and trying to maybe do something, but like, that's a bit of a distance. Poorman was last seen downtown Vancouver on September 6, 2020, where she had gone out for the night. Her skeleton's remains were found by contractors during work on their home on the West 36th Ave on April 22nd. So this home was abandoned. This home was in a wealthy place. It wasn't abandoned, it was just unlived in. So somebody owned it that did not live in Canada at the time. I think that they were Chinese or something. Don't quote me on that. However, the house was unlived in. A lot of people knew this, so there was a lot of foot traffic through this house. And contractors who were working for these individuals came across Chelsea Poorman's remains in the backyard. So police stated that this is not the outcome we wanted. We always hoped Chelsea would be found alive, and our sympathies go out to everyone who knew Chelsea, loved her, and hoped she would come home safe, Sergeant Steve Addison said in a news release. Vancouver police said her cause of death would never be determined, but there was no sign of evidence of foul play. So I will let that sink in. No signs of foul play at all. Investigators believe Poorman likely died on the property the night she had disappeared or shortly thereafter, but when undiscovered because of the house has been vacant for many years, police said adding her death is not considered suspicious. So they think she just walked over to that house fell in the backyard or wherever she was, and died. And that's that. And that's it. And that's how she died. MacLean, Sergeant Stephen Addison said to a media liaison, "We will likely never know her cause of death." Poorman's mother said Sunday that she's not satisfied with the police explanation. "There's something that I was told at the coroner. I had asked him twice if what he said was true. He said Chelsea wasn't fully intact. She said through tears." So she's missing some things. She was missing her cranium and she was missing some fingers. And they have to say that it's not suspicion or there's no foul play. So she's missing some fingers and she's missing part of her cranium. And I know people are going to come and say, oh, it could have been animals or maggots or something. Yes, she's been missing for 2 years. I get that. And things happen to bodies. But to say that her body was not intact, I don't know which fingers she was missing or what was going on, but her cranium, and then to say it's not foul play, it sounds more like they just don't want to bother. Like, this poor woman lost her life and was probably terrified whenever this was happening, and is finally found, which is amazing for the family that they can now finally lay their daughter to rest and actually do something. But to say that nothing actually happened and that's it, like, oh, we found her, everything looks good, let's move on to the next. Am I crazy for thinking that that's not correct? Or you guys want to let me know? Chelsea Poorman's mother said she will continue to fight for her daughter and the truth about what happened to her after police deemed the 24-year-old woman's death non-suspicious. Police have closed the missing persons case despite not being able to determine the cause of death at all, nor does it sound like they even tried to figure out how she died, and finding Poorman's body outside a vacant Shaughnessy mansion in a neighbor 6 kilometers away from where she was last seen. And remember, she has a slight mental disability and also walks with a cane and a knee brace. So I deal with people who have disabilities. 6 kilometers at night when it's cold and you have a cane and a knee brace. To me, it doesn't add up. We're going to fight for Chelsea, and we're going to fight for the truth and what happened to her. Her mother told support at the vigil that happened on that Sunday. We're not going to sit by and let them say it's not suspicious and there's no foul play. And my whole thing is how they found the dead body. They found her, right? She's missing a part of her cranium. So I don't know if that's a gunshot wound or what that is. They did say that they did find things around her. They found like her wallet, stuff like that, some of her personal belongings, but they didn't state if they found her cane, if they found her knee brace, if they found her cell phone. So where's that, you know? Poorman was joined by her daughters, Paige and Diamond, as well as other supporters outside the mansion where Chelsea's body was found to mourn and call for justice to do ceremonies intended to help release the young woman's spirit. Other speakers talk about Canada's long history of ignoring the disappearance and deaths of Indigenous women and echo Poorman's disbelief that Chelsea's death would not be further investigated. Anyone with information about her disappearance or any information about her disappearance or where they found her body or what might have happened to Chelsea is asked to contact the VPD at 604-717-2500 or Crimestoppers at 1-800-222-8477. So I'm back with my final thoughts. These cases make me absolutely pissed right off. This poor individual probably suffered through something so horrendous that none of us will ever know, and due to her background is not going to get justice. There could be an individual out there who caused this young lady to lose her life, and he will never see a jail cell in his life. And to me, that makes me sick. I feel so sorry for the family. I feel so sorry for just any individual who has to go through this. I know there is thousands of women and families out there who go through this on a daily basis, who, like, we have one in town, Shelly Baskew, who her daughter went missing, and that was, I think the lady would be my mom's age. She went missing like 16, 17, and now if she was found alive, she might be around my mom's age, like 56, 57. So she's been missing forever, and again, dead ends. And I don't know how well the RCMP did here investigating that, but this one, they didn't. They waited 10 days to even release that she's missing. They said they did extensive research for the CTV news, but nothing was ever reported or released. Then it kind of went cold. They probably didn't do anything for quite a while. They found the dead body, and then they just left it. They said she was missing things, her fingers, her cranium, but apparently that's not enough for them to actually do an autopsy to figure it out. And I get it. A body laying out in the elements for 2 years will have some damage, and you won't be able to actually find a lot of the evidence that you'd be looking for if you found it fresh. However, a lot of this probably could have been solved if you actually took the case serious and started doing an investigation more than 10 days, not giving the family grief, and being like, we have better things to do. She might have been found. If not, we might have been able to figure out who did this to her. But now the family might be like all the other families out there for the murder of missing Indigenous women and never know. And that's not fair. In my opinion, I don't think that's fair. You have a job. I get, like, it could be hard to do it, but those cold cases that open up years and years later that get solved, why wouldn't you start now when it's so fresh? And again, I feel so horrible for the family who has to go through this, because I don't know what I would do if I was in your shoes. And again, I am so sorry that you guys had to endure this. You had to wait 2 years to rescue your daughter, and it breaks my heart, and I really, really do hope that you do get justice one day. So those are my final thoughts about this case. I want to know what you guys have to say about this, and if you guys agree with me that you think, hey, you know, time needs to change. It's 2022. I know we're going back in time. Just look at the States. They tend to not care about women either, right? So I want to know what your guys' thoughts are, and do you guys feel the same as me and feel like there had to be something we could have done to protect this young lady, or even to put her to rest and give her justice? There has to be something. So I want to know. Let me know down below if you guys feel the same way as me. If you guys have different opinions, I love to hear different opinions too. It means a lot to me. I want to hear everybody's perspectives. I'm not my opinion is the only opinion. I believe that everyone deserves to have their own opinions. So please let me know what you guys think. Again, my name is Jordan MacLean. If you guys can, please like and subscribe down below. I'm really trying to get to 200 likes by the middle of this year. So I have a month. 200 subscribers. So please make sure you guys go and subscribe, share the video, send it to your friends. There's also a little bell down below that if you click it, you will not miss me uploading. So again, thank you guys for coming out to watch my videos and my little story, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye!